Well, hello there. Welcome back. If you are returning to my channel, if you're new, I'm Mindy. I am just a regular average mom. I have 3 older children. They're basically all teenagers. They're 12, 13, and 16. And on my channel, I try to be realistic in a helpful, kind, positive way. And I share the things I am doing primarily in my kitchen just to try to tame the chaos. Because, and I'm sure some other moms will back me up on this, while it is a busy life when the kids are little babies and toddlers, in my opinion, it's just as busy when they're teenagers. It's just a different kind of busy. This is the 4th video in a little series I'm doing this month where I show you exactly what I purchased at the grocery store and how I used it to feed my family across the week. And then I'm also giving you the totals that I paid for those groceries. And I'm not really trying to spend as little as possible. I'm not trying to go over the top. It's sort of a mixture of essentials and a few luxury items, some things that we need and some things that we want. But I thought it would be interesting to see then how that all shakes out over the course of about a month or so. The meals that I'm able to plan, the way that we're able to use what is left over from previous grocery hauls and the following week's menu plan, and what the total is across those 4 weeks, basically a month. Even though I started with some things on hand in my kitchen, I really tried not to go to my pantry or my freezer, not for like food items, for spices and seasonings and condiments and the types of things we use to cook and flavor dishes. I'm hoping that people are starting with just a standard, family kitchen. But the first week, I really tried just to stick to the things that I purchased in that particular grocery haul. But then the second week and the third week and now the 4th week, I have looked at the things I have left over from these hauls for these videos and tried to incorporate them into the following week's meal plans. So we have kind of a starting place with a few items. We did a pretty good job with the refrigerated goods this week. I really don't have much going on. I have a few servings of leftovers that are probably just a few days past their prime, so probably gonna have to throw those out. I do have 1 lunch prep left, and those are not as old as those. A few apples. I still have celery and carrots. I have some Brussels sprouts left there that did not get made with the every plate meal last week, but do need to restock some fruits and vegetables. In the freezer, I do have a few bags of frozen veggies left, some rice cauliflower, and I actually have a little meat that I didn't use up from the past few weeks. These are chicken thighs, and then I think I have like 1 chicken breast back here maybe that I did not use because the packages just had more than I needed for that week's recipes. So a little bit of meat in here. Pantry, not all of this was purchased in the last few weeks, but a lot of it was, like the soups and this half box of orzo, the ramen and the pasta, and some of the vegetables came in my Thrive Market box. A few other canned goods that I purchased the past few weeks. I don't have a lot left in my snack bins this week, and I also only have a few pieces of bread. There's not much going on in the bread box. There's some tortillas in there, actually. I might need to use those for something, but I'll need to make a loaf of bread this week or pick one up. And this week, I really want to use some things up because it's the week before Thanksgiving. And so I know that like a lot of food is going to be coming into the house and we might want some special things. And I really thought I wouldn't have much, if anything, left over from week to week. So I've been kind of surprised that I've had several items every time. And life happens. Sometimes a meal we had planned doesn't get made because we get invited to a friend's house for dinner, or because the kids are all at sleepovers or at a church activity or something, and the husband and I decide just to eat leftovers or heat up a can of soup, For this grocery haul and meal planning series, I have been trying to shop at a variety of stores. So I have shopped at Walmart, Aldi, Sam's. I have also ordered a box from Thrive Market and from Every Plate. I just pulled into our local traditional supermarket, Reasors. This is just your standard grocery store. There's nothing else. There's no clothes or automobile department or anything like that like you would have at Walmart. It's not like Aldi where it's 85% house brands. It's just kind of your standard supermarket. And the great thing about shopping a traditional supermarket is the sales cycle, because they typically will run weekly sales. A lot of times it's from the middle of the week, like Wednesday through the following Tuesday, and you can get some really fantastic prices on their items that are on sale. And sometimes they have coupons also, like digital coupons in a store loyalty program that you can attach to like a store card that you scan at checkout. So I'm going to run in and grab some things for this week. I'll show you what I'm getting, and then we'll talk later on about how much I paid. Here is everything I picked up at Reasors today, which if you're in Texas, you might know the store Brookshires. Brookshires is who owns Reasors, which is a regional store here in Oklahoma. Produce, I have some onions and some lemons. I picked up a few more Honeycrisp apples because they look good and they were priced $1.99 a pound, which is pretty good. And then I picked up a couple pears just because we like those as a change. The red and green grapes were a really good price, but the red grapes looked better than the green grapes. Like they just looked like they were going to be crispy. You know what I'm saying? So I got the red grapes this time. Some romaine hearts, 2 jalapenos. I have mentioned in some videos over the past few months that I have not had great luck with clementines over the past year. I feel like some of the bags I've picked up have just been dry or flavorless, but these looked pretty good. And since I'm shopping in a different store than I would normally buy these in, I thought we'd give them a try. And then some carrot chips for the kids' lunches and snacks. I also needed some spinach for a soup that I'm making this week. And this one was marked down for quick sale. So it was perfect because I don't really care if it's wilting just a little bit or there are a few pieces that are wilting because I'm just going to put it in a soup anyway. And then just some good old frozen veggies. These were on sale for 98 cents a bag. I got 2 of the broccoli florets and 1 of the California medley, the broccoli, cauliflower, and carrots. I thought I'd try it in the Picked Sweet brand. And then I picked up one of these because I'm going to make some ramen this week. And I thought this would be good to throw in with the ramen dish. I have 2.5 pounds or over 2.5 pounds, 2.6 pounds of 90/10 ground beef. This was on sale today. I need this for 2 different dinners I'm making this week. And then the sausage was a really great deal. It was on sale and there was a digital coupon that made it a great price. And since I am going to make a zuppa toscana this week, this is one of the things that I need for that, along with a few pieces of bacon, which worked out perfectly because McKenna has also requested bacon as part of her birthday dinner, which I'm making this week. So I have a pound and a half of bacon. I splurged on the right brand this time. The cereals were a steal. They were on sale 2 for $4, so $2 a box when you bought 2. But I also had 2 different coupons in my digital app and my store app that took $1 off of each box. So it came out to just $1 per box. Instead of buying individual packages for lunches this week, I went with just the stand-up bags. They were on sale 3 for $6. So we'll have these for snacks, for football watching, and the kids can pack a handful in their lunches this week also. And then I just got some tortilla chips and also some more corn chips. These are in the store brand because we're going to have chili this week. Dairy. I needed some milk and some half and half for some recipes, also some sour cream. I picked up 2 pounds of butter because McKenna has requested a dessert that calls for like 3 sticks of butter. So I decided I better go ahead and stock up in case I need it for other things. I didn't want to go too crazy with sandwich stuff because we only have a few more days of school before we're out for an entire week. So I just picked up 1 package of turkey breast and 1 package of sliced cheese for sandwiches for a few days. And then the rest of this cheese was on sale, buy one, get one free. And that brought the price down to like $1.35 per package, which is an absolute steal. So that's why I have 4 blocks. And then I have 2 bags of the shredded cheese. I am making some recipes this week, including McKenna's birthday dinner request that requires a lot of cheese. So that's why I have so much. Oh, and also 1 block of Parmesan cheese. I didn't really need to restock any spices or seasonings, but I did stock a few things for my baking cabinet. I wasn't sure if I had any cocoa for the dessert McKenna wanted, so I went ahead and picked up a bag. And then 2 bags of chocolate chips because it calls for 2 different kinds. So I actually won't use all of both of these bags. I'll have some left over to maybe make some desserts, in the next month or so. I splurged on this pasta. I needed some elbow pasta, but I thought these looked really good. I love this brand, the DeLallo brand, and these are shelbows. If you can tell, I think that is an apt description. I thought this was really interesting, so I picked these up for a recipe. The chicken noodles. There's a story here. I used to eat these all the time as a child, and I have not seen them in ages. In fact, I was telling my sister that I haven't seen those in the store in a long, long time. And today I saw them in my traditional grocery store. So I picked up 4 cans. I don't have like an immediate need for those. I'll probably just eat them like for lunches or something over the next few weeks. But I was so delighted to see those. They're just different from the regular chicken noodle soup, and they're different from the double noodle, and they're different from all of those character ones they have, like the princess ones. I don't know why. It's just different. If you have eaten chicken noodles, comment down below and let me know. Or is it different for you than just the standard chicken noodle? Because it is for me. Other canned goods, some salsa, some white red kidney beans, and also some crushed tomatoes. I have diced tomatoes left over from my last few hauls, but I needed 1 can of crushed tomatoes for a recipe. The chunky soup was a sale with a coupon, and I just decided I'd pick up a can to put in the pantry. Sometimes when I don't want to cook, but I also don't want to pay a lot of money for takeout, we'll just eat soup or mac and cheese from the pantry, so I picked up this chili mac. These 2 things I picked up from the deli, and they were marked down for quick sale. They were like half price. I think the chicken pot pie came out to $2, and then this little like King Ranch casserole came out to like $3.50, and there's easily 2 servings in each one of these. I wanted something easy for a lunch prep because I didn't want to make like a whole recipe of something, and I figure I can make these up. I could add some vegetables like the rice cauliflower I have in the freezer, and I will easily get like 2 or maybe even 3 servings of lunches from these little things that I got marked down already made up. So all I have to do is heat them up. I had one impulse purchase, you guys. I have been searching everywhere for this, and I have not found it until today. It is the Little Debbie Christmas Tree Cake Coffee Creamer. You know, I had to try this, okay? I had to try this. In fact, I'm probably gonna make myself a cup of coffee here before I go pick up the children in a couple hours. I'm gonna put some of this in and try it out. I had to try it out. And I have not found it anywhere, but I found it in Reasors. They had it in one of their refrigerator cases, so I grabbed one. Okay, let's talk about the meal plan for this week. Usually I am planning 5 dinners for the week, in addition to picking up some stuff that we can have for breakfast, for lunches, for snacks. Last week was kind of a weird week because my oldest was away at a band competition and my husband was there with her for a few days. This week is more our standard sort of chaos where we have just some regular evening activities taking us out of the house. My younger daughter has a couple of basketball games. My son has swim practices, just sort of the basic stuff. So I have some time to cook in the kitchen some nights, and other times I don't. So sometimes I need like a crock pot meal, and other times I can, take the long way and make it on the stove or in the oven. For those nights when I need something in the slow cooker, I need to get something going earlier in the day that is ready for us later in the evening, I'm gonna do a zuppa toscana. I have potatoes left over from previous weeks. I picked up some sausage and also a little bacon. So my oldest daughter is gonna be delighted because this is one of her favorite soup recipes in the winter. So I'll probably go ahead and make that. I am also going to throw some of those chicken thighs or that chicken breast or maybe both into the crock pot with some seasoning, maybe just some ranch seasoning and a little taco seasoning. I've got some tortillas. We have some cheese. I have some refried beans from my Thrive Market order and also some chips and salsa. So I definitely have the makings for like a taco night. My son requested chili this week, and I'm going to try a different chili recipe. And I think the original recipe is for the stovetop, but I think I can adapt it for the crock pot, especially my slow cooker that has a saute function so that I can brown the ground beef. So I don't know if I'll make that on the stove or in the slow cooker, but I think I have either option. And since my son doesn't like potatoes, I'll make sure that I make the chili first in the week. That way the night we have the zuppa toscana, my son can have like a bowl of leftover chili instead. I am going to make a tried and true family favorite. It's a skillet spicy ramen. And it's been a while, I think, since I've shared like a step-by-step on how to do this. So let's go ahead and dive into that because this is such a great little like 20-minute miracle meal. I think originally I found this recipe at Plain Chicken. I'll see if I can track it down. I'll leave it linked in the description box below. And I think she uses like really thin sliced pork. I pretty much always use ground beef or ground pork. I have about a pound in here that I am browning up. And then as soon as this water comes to a boil next to me, I'm going to add 4 bricks of ramen. I'm going to use this brown rice ramen today, but I've also used just regular ramen, like regular top ramen or whatever the brands are that are like 20 cents a block. Okay, my meat is finished cooking. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of this chili garlic sauce, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, I usually add some kind of vegetable, sometimes some bell peppers, sometimes some broccoli. I got this Asian vegetable mix at the store today. And I did pop it in the microwave for a couple of minutes so that they're not frozen going in the pan. And then I also have half a cup of soy sauce plus 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. I've also used coconut aminos before. And I am just going to stir that and then let it simmer for a few minutes while I cook my ramen, because it only takes a few minutes for the ramen to cook. My ramen is almost done cooking, but before I drain it, I like to add just a few ladlefuls of the water here to my saucepan with the meat and veggie mixture. Now all I have to do is add my cooked ramen that I drained, give it a little stir, give it a little toss, and then put it in a bowl and it's ready to eat. I like to add a little everything but the bagel seasoning, but seriously, this comes together in less than 20 minutes. I mean, sometimes it's as little as 15 minutes. Everybody eats it. There are rarely any leftovers, so it's definitely a winner in my book. Last week was our son's birthday, our youngest child's birthday, and when the kids have a birthday, we try to do a night just the family. I ask them what they would like for dinner and what they would like for dessert, and we have a nice family dinner and like open presents and sing happy birthday. This week, it's my younger daughter's birthday, our middle child's birthday, and she has requested homemade mac and cheese with bacon and homemade rolls. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a salad in there also because I feel like we need some kind of vegetable, and we're calling it Kenna's Birthday Carb Fest. For dessert, she has requested brookies, and I have never made brookies from scratch before. So I found a recipe that I like to try, and you saw in my grocery haul, I picked up a few ingredients that are going to be great for that, along with just my regular baking pantry staples, flour, sugar, I've got baking powder and just all the other stuff you would normally need for that. Although I am now remembering that I forgot to pick up ice cream, and she did request ice cream. So that's okay. It's not for a few days, so I can stop by a store later on this week and pick up some ice cream to go with her brookies, and I will add that into my grocery total. This week at Reasors, my local traditional grocery store, after my coupons and my sale prices were applied and before tax, my total was $154.73. And I know that doesn't include the ice cream. I'll be picking that up later this week, so I'll go ahead and add that to the total here. One of the things I have been doing in this series is comparing my own weekly totals with the USDA food plans. They put out a cost of food report where they estimate how much families, different sizes and different makeups might spend in a week, or you can even look at it in a month on food to feed their family. I've been aware of these USDA food plans, and I've mentioned them in several videos for probably the last 4 or 5 years. And they used to update these charts and these estimates every month. As of now, November, the latest numbers that we have are from August. But still, having numbers from as recently as just 3 months ago, I think is an interesting comparison. So when I look at those USDA charts, and I plug in my family's numbers, a 44-year-old man, a 43-year-old woman, and then a 16-year-old girl, a 13-year-old girl, and a 12-year-old boy. And I follow their calculation instructions. These are the numbers I come up with based on that chart for a high budget, a moderate budget, a low budget, and a thrifty budget. And again, this is what they estimate I would be spending for my family of 5 on those budgets for a week. The first week I picked up orders from Sam's and Walmart, and I spent a total of $253.98, and that put me below the thrifty budget. The second week I shopped at Aldi and picked up a few things at Walmart that I couldn't get at Aldi, and I also placed an order with Thrive Market. And my total came to $296.34, which put me above the thrifty budget, but still below the low budget. The third week, I picked up a grocery order from Walmart, and I also ordered a box from Every Plate, a meal kit service, and I spent a total of $161.18. So again, still below the thrifty budget, purchasing those items and then also adding them to the things I had left over from the previous 2 weeks to make meals. And then this week, my total at Reasors and then picking up the ice cream for McKenna's birthday was $163.05. And again, I had some things from the previous few grocery hauls and meal plans that I've been doing in this series that I could use and incorporate into this week's meal plan. And ultimately, that's probably something we should all be doing, right? We shop our own kitchen first and then we fill in the gaps. A couple of things to note: I am not including tax. We do pay a little bit of tax on food in Oklahoma. And the reason I don't include it is because a lot of places don't have tax on food at all. And if you do have tax on food, it varies from place to place. We also live in Tulsa, and Oklahoma is a very low cost of living state. And while I'm sure that these numbers the USDA was putting out were national averages, it is worth noting that they pull out Alaska and Hawaii, which makes sense since I think that those two would be much higher cost of living. Also, this is for food only. It doesn't include any non-food consumable items. And I find that really interesting because I really don't think I was trying to stay on a very low budget. You saw my grocery hauls. There were lots of non-essentials. We've celebrated birthdays. We've hosted large gatherings in our home where I purchase extra food. I really am a combination cook in that I will make some things from scratch, take the long way. And other times I will use convenience items or semi-homemade recipes. So my total across these 4 weeks, these 4 videos, came out to $874.85 to feed my family of 5 for basically a month. And I feel pretty confident saying I could definitely stretch this for a couple more days because there are still some leftovers and there are still items from these grocery hauls that I haven't used. I also shopped at a variety of stores, including some stores that are available nationwide or almost nationwide, like Walmart, Sam's, Aldi. I shopped at my local, just regular standard supermarket, Reasors. I paid for a little convenience and had some things delivered to me, like from Thrive Market and Every Plate. Typically speaking, beverages that are non-essential, like sodas or alcohol, and also eating out come out of a recreation budget because if we didn't have any money in that particular line item, we just wouldn't buy those things. They're not essential. But even if I throw in my trade coffee subscription into my total, which is $50.97, and it gets me a few bags of high quality coffee beans each month, my new total would be $955.82 that I've spent this month. And that is still well under the thrifty budget calculation for a month for my family, which comes out to $1,218.85. So I probably could throw in our soda and beer purchases and a few trips through the drive-through this month and still come out pretty close to that budget. I just find that interesting. I do plan to continue making these videos where I show you a grocery haul and then tell you a meal plan for the week and how much I paid for it so that hopefully it can give you some ideas as well. I will be sure to leave all of the videos in this little series linked in the description box below. And YouTube thinks you might want to watch one of these next. If you do, I'll see you there. Make sure that you are subscribed and I will catch you in the next video.